It's funny how life throws you on stage when you least expect it. There I was, Austin, Texas, spotlight burning on my face, clutching this ridiculous heavy trophy, national award for a tech startup I built from nothing but sweat, ramen noodles, and stubbornness. People clapped. I tried to smile. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw them, my parents, my little sister Sophie. They looked so proud, standing in the back row, waving, grinning like the last 5 years never happened. 5 years of silence, 5 years of being the invisible daughter, now erased by a little golden plaque. I almost laughed. If only the world knew. If only they saw what was coming. A fat envelope landing on my doorstep just weeks later, thick with legal threats, my own parents suing me for a piece of my company. I wish I was kidding. This isn't just about money. It's about what family means, or what it doesn't. Growing up in Phoenix was a masterclass in favoritism. My name's Emily, and I was the reliable one. I was the extra wheel. Sophie, she was the star. Ballet shoes, private schools, brand new car for her 16th birthday, whole parade of look how wonderful Sophie is. The best teachers, acting lessons, everything. I got, well, hand-me-downs, a pat on the head, and a front row seat to the Sophie show. I wasn't a bad kid. I got straight A's, I kept quiet, I helped around the house. But it was never enough. Sophie would scrape her knee, and suddenly it was DEFCON 1, Mom racing for Band-Aids, Dad calling the doctor. I won a statewide math contest once. Dad nodded. That's nice, Em. Did you see Sophie's painting? After a while, I just stopped asking. I started saving up from babysitting, learned to say no thanks when my friends wanted to go shopping. I watched the bills stack up on the counter and figured, if Sophie needed it, she'd get it. If I wanted it, better work for it myself. Senior year was the final straw. My folks always had this dream. Emily the lawyer. Respectable, safe, classic. It made sense to them. Only thing was, I didn't want it. I'd been teaching myself to code, haunting the public library like a ghost, falling in love with the idea of making something from scratch. A business. Something that was mine. So I told them, one dinner, shaky hands, voice just about steady, that I wanted to try starting my own company. My dad's face went red. You're throwing away your future. You don't know anything about business. My mom, she just gave me this look, like I'd said I wanted to be a circus clown. That's a phase, honey. Sophie's the creative one. You should have something steady. The kicker? Sophie, 2 years younger, declared she wanted to be an actress in LA. They about threw a party, signed her up for lessons, paid for headshots, even started looking for apartments she could rent. It's her dream, Mom beamed. It was like I was a guest in my own family, the responsible one, the background extra in a Sophie biopic. A few months later, I came up with this idea. Software for freelancers, a way to keep track of clients and projects and invoices. It wasn't a billion-dollar plan yet, but it was something real. I worked up spreadsheets, business models, stayed up all night trying to make it perfect. I sat my parents down, tried to explain. I wasn't even asking for a handout. Just a small loan, maybe $3,000–4,000. I promised I'd pay it back with interest. My dad barely let me finish. We've talked about this. We're supporting Sophie. She's got real potential. We have to put our resources where they'll matter. My mom? Sweetie, this tech stuff just isn't you. That was it. Not just a no. A don't bother. That night, I packed a duffel bag, what little I could carry. I left. They didn't chase after me, didn't call the next day. That was how it ended, 21 years as a Carter, and suddenly I was just Emily, alone with a couple $100, my laptop, and a stubborn streak a mile wide. Denver was cold, the apartment smaller than my closet back home, and smelled faintly of cat pee. I worked 3 jobs: barista at dawn, bookstore clerk after lunch, pizza delivery till midnight. My mattress touched every wall in my room. I coded at night, propped my laptop on milk crates, fell asleep face down on the keyboard half the time. I learned to live on instant noodles. I washed my clothes in the bathroom sink. But every time I wanted to quit, I remembered Dad's words. She's got real potential. Not me, her, their golden child. That anger, that loneliness, it turned into something else. It became fuel. I launched my software, clunky at first, ugly as sin, but it worked. I used it for my side gigs. It saved me hours, so I put it online. Then, COVID. The world flipped upside down. Suddenly everybody was a freelancer or running teams from home. My app exploded. I stopped sleeping. I hired a friend of a friend, another coder. I moved to Austin, took a gamble on a real office. The company, Nextwork, grew faster than I could have dreamed. 4 years later, 20 million in revenue, national press, my name in the headlines. Not bad for a kid nobody believed in. And that's when my phone rang. Emily? Oh, honey, it's Mom. I hadn't heard that voice in 5 years. Suddenly she's so proud. Dad's always known you'd make it big. Sophie, chirping in next, wanting to catch up. I should have known. A few weeks go by. There's this national award. Big deal, red carpet, tech people everywhere. I barely mentioned it to them. But here they come. Mom, Dad, Sophie, posing for photos, clapping, acting like they coached me through every all-nighter. Sophie posted, "Proud sister," selfies all over social media. I let it slide. Maybe I was numb. Maybe a part of me wanted it to be real. But I knew better. Not even a month later, a thick envelope lands on my desk. Certified mail. Paul Carter and Linda Carter versus Emily Carter. My parents, my own blood, were suing me for a share of Next work. They said raising me was an investment. They actually called it parental equity, like my childhood was a business deal. Their lawyer argued that every dollar spent on food, clothes, doctor's visits meant they owned a piece of my company, like I owed them for existing. I almost laughed. Almost. But the pain, the betrayal, it hit harder than any insult. All those years they couldn't spare a dime for me, but now I was worth something. I did what I always do. I fought back. I hired the toughest lawyer in Austin. She dug through every record, bank statements, old emails, everything. What she found? A mountain of proof. Thousands spent on Sophie's acting camps, apartments, yoga retreats, new cars, every whim granted. Not a cent for me, not for college, not for the business, nothing. Then the kicker. Sophie, with my parents, had registered a company with a name almost identical to Nextwork, right after we'd reconnected. Their plan? God knows. Maybe to steal clients, maybe to sue later, maybe just to leech off my success. It stung. My sister, who always seemed clueless, now actively trying to take what I'd built. We went to court. The room felt smaller than it was, the air tight with years of resentment. My parents looked tired. Sophie wouldn't meet my eyes. Their lawyer gave this speech about parental sacrifice, about family bonds. He called it a reasonable return for all they'd given up. My lawyer wasn't having it. She put their spending on the big screen, every acting class, every check written to Sophie. Then she pulled up Mom's old email, the one she sent after I left home. I'll never forget reading it out loud, voice steady, hands only shaking a little. "You've chosen your path. We're putting all our support behind Sophie." It hung there, proof in black and white that I was always the backup plan. The judge? She barely looked up. Called the lawsuit baseless, called out my parents for wasting the court's time, for trying to rewrite history because they were bitter their chosen one hadn't made it. The case was thrown out in minutes. Walking out of that courtroom, I didn't feel like a winner. Not really. I felt free, lighter, like maybe, just maybe, I could finally breathe without waiting for someone else's approval. My family was huddled in the corner, angry, defeated, lost in their own storm. I didn't look back. So was it worth it?